The year 1227. One man's empire stretches from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe, an area larger than Rome, Alexander, and Napoleon combined. He commands an army that moves faster than messages can travel, that wins battles before the enemy even knows war has begun. His name is Genghis Khan, the most successful conqueror in human history. But this isn't a story about brutality or bloodshed. It's the story of how a single orphan from the Mongolian steppe built a system so efficient, so adaptive, that it outlived him by generations. The secret wasn't luck, it was design. Tonight, the Golden Archive unravels the hidden machinery of empire, the code, the strategy, and the mind of Genghis Khan. Long before he was Khan, he was Temujin, born around 1162 near the Onan River. His world was the harsh steppe, endless grass, freezing winds, and tribes locked in constant struggle for survival. When Temujin was 9, his father was poisoned by a rival clan. His family, Mother Hoylan and her 7 children, were cast out, left to starve. They dug roots from frozen ground and trapped fish beneath the ice. In the cruelty of that childhood, Temujin learned 3 truths. 1. No one survives alone. 2. Loyalty must be earned, not inherited. 3. And mercy is a luxury of the strong. Every betrayal carved discipline into his mind. Every hunger forged calculation. The boy who should have died in the snow would one day unite the tribes that destroyed him. As he grew, Temujin gathered followers not through birthright but through trust. He rewarded loyalty with promotion, punished betrayal with precision. When he allied with his blood brother Jamuka, they dreamed of uniting the Mongols. But old loyalties die hard. Jamuka sought power through fear, Temujin through order. Their friendship collapsed into civil war. Temujin's army moved differently, disciplined, organized into groups of 10, 100, 1,000. It was not an army of tribes, it was an army of systems. In 1206, on the banks of the Onan River, the tribes finally knelt before him. Temujin was crowned Genghis Khan, universal ruler. And with that coronation, the steppe had found its architect. Once crowned, Genghis Khan didn't just command armies. He rewrote civilization. He created Yasa, the Great Law, a code that governed everything from military discipline to marriage, trade, and the treatment of animals. It declared that every man was equal before the law. It outlawed kidnapping, theft, and false testimony, crimes common among steppe tribes for centuries. Breaking Yasa wasn't merely disobedience, it was treason against the system. In Yasa's order, nomads found unity. In Yasa's justice, soldiers found trust. The empire wasn't held together by fear, it was held by rules. This was Genghis Khan's greatest innovation, turning chaos into code. The Mongol army was not the largest, it was the most efficient. Every 10 men knew their leader. Every 100 had supply lines, scouts, and communication runners. They could move 100 miles a day, carrying dried meat and mare's milk, no wagons, no baggage. Each soldier had multiple horses, switching mounts mid-battle to stay fresh. They used feigned retreats, luring enemies into ambushes. They attacked from the horizon, vanished into dust, then struck again. And above all, they coordinated through an early form of battlefield intelligence, smoke, horns, and flags that turned chaos into choreography. Genghis Khan had transformed nomads into the world's first mobile data network. Behind every campaign stood not just steel and horses, but a mind that understood people. Genghis Khan ruled by 2 forces, fear and faith. Fear because betrayal meant extinction. He destroyed cities that refused surrender. then spared the next who submitted without resistance. Faith, because loyalty was rewarded like gold. A shepherd who proved courage could command thousands by year's end. Around his campfires, spies whispered the movements of far-off kings. Messengers galloped day and night, carrying secrets faster than borders could form. Yet among his men there was devotion. They called him Father of the Nation. Genghis Khan did not demand worship, he demanded performance. And in return, he gave what every warrior craved: purpose. In 1219, trade became war. A caravan from Mongolia arrived in the Khwarezm Empire, modern Uzbekistan and Iran. The governor accused them of spying and executed them. Genghis Khan sent envoys to demand justice. The Shah of Khwarezm beheaded them. The Khan did not rage, he planned. He mapped every river, every fort, every grain route. Then his armies moved, swiftly, silently, like a storm without sound. In less than 2 years, the Khwarezm Empire ceased to exist. Cities burned, but the roads remained, for trade, for knowledge, for the future he would build upon their ashes. The campaign was ruthless but systematic. Every siege recorded, every message carried, every outpost reborn as a node of control. It was the empire as machine, and Genghis Khan was its engineer. To the east stood a different challenge, the Jin dynasty of northern China, protected by cities of stone and walls that stretched for miles. Steppe warriors had never taken cities until Genghis Khan studied how. He recruited Chinese engineers, Persian architects, and captured artillery experts. He built catapults, siege towers, and early forms of gunpowder bombs. The Mongol army became a hybrid, part cavalry, part science. One by one, the great cities fell. Zhengdu, modern Beijing, was captured and reborn as the northern capital of a new order. By 1227, from the Yellow Sea to the Caspian, one banner ruled the sky. Yet Genghis Khan was not just collecting territory, he was collecting methods. Every culture he conquered taught him how to run an empire. Genghis Khan didn't just destroy nations, he built one from their remains. After every conquest, he replaced chaos with structure, governors, judges, tax officers, and scribes. He promoted based on ability, not birth. A Persian merchant or a Chinese engineer could rise higher than a Mongol noble if they proved useful. His empire was divided into provinces with standardized laws and shared accountability. Records were kept in multiple languages: Mongolian, Uyghur, Persian, Chinese, Arabic. He established the Yam, a network of relay stations every 25 miles where fresh horses and food awaited royal messengers. Messages crossed Asia faster than any empire before. And in this web of administration, Genghis Khan proved a truth few conquerors understood. Victory wins land. Systems keep it. Where his riders once brought war, his merchants now brought silk, spices, and science. The Mongol Empire became the bridge between East and West. From Venice to Beijing, a single passport, the paisa, a metal tablet stamped with the Khan seal, guaranteed safe passage through thousands of miles of open trade. Along these routes, scholars and doctors traveled freely. The Mongols protected caravans, repaired roads, and punished thieves with the same severity as traders. Genghis Khan himself practiced no forced religion. He invited Buddhist monks, Muslim imams, and Christian priests to debate in his presence. To him, belief was private, but order was universal. It wasn't tolerance born of kindness, it was tolerance born of efficiency. An empire that accepts all faiths lasts longer than one that demands one. In the summer of 1227, Genghis Khan was still at war, this time with the Western Shah in China. Accounts differ. Some say he fell from his horse, others whisper he was wounded in battle. Whatever the cause, as his body weakened, his empire was still expanding. He called his generals and sons to his tent and spoke of the one law that mattered most. If you wish to live in peace, be honest and faithful to one another. Then, like the steppe wind he had ridden all his life, he was gone. The greatest empire on earth had lost its center, but not its system. His funeral became legend. A small escort carried his body to Mongolia. Along the route, they erased all traces, killing witnesses, trampling the earth, diverting rivers. Somewhere beneath the sacred mountain of Burkhan Khaldun, the great Khan was buried, without a tomb, without a mark, without gold. The man who had owned half the world chose to vanish back into it. His empire passed to his sons, Ogadai, Chagatai, and Tolu, each trained under his code. Within a generation, Mongol banners would fly over Russia, Persia, and China. The system endured even as borders shifted. The Yum network, the law of Yasa, the trade routes, all continued to function like arteries in a body whose heart had stopped beating. Genghis Khan had died, but his design still lived. In the centuries that followed, his name became both legend and warning. To the west, Genghis Khan was a destroyer, a storm of blood and fire. To the east, he was a lawgiver, a unifier, a father of order. But to history itself, he remains something else, a paradox. The man who burned cities also built the first international postal system. The nomad who conquered kingdoms created free trade across half the planet. The illiterate warrior preserved libraries, maps, and knowledge by embedding them into his administration. His empire eventually fractured, as all empires do, but his design principles never vanished. Merit over birth, communication over chaos, vision over vanity. Genghis Khan proved that the most powerful system isn't built on conquest, it's built on organization. The Mongols ruled by movement, by memory, by method. And from their dust, the Silk Road reopened, civilizations intertwined, and the map of the modern world began to take shape. Thank you for watching the Golden Archive. Remember, every empire begins with an idea and survives only when that idea becomes a system.